Hey everybody, this is Jeremy and Ian from Pioneer Midwest. We've got a short video here for you today going over our 5 favorite technique drills. During this video, we're going to go over these drills, show you a demonstration, but also talk to you about why these technique drills are so important. All right, the first drill we're going to do here is a good warm-up drill for technique work. So with this drill, what we're going to be doing is doing a no-pole drill, no-pole skiing, but instead of having the poles out in front of you or mimicking like you'll see a lot of people do, what we're going to actually be doing here is balancing the poles on the tops of your hands while skiing. The reason why we're going to be doing this is going to help force you to quiet your upper body. So from the hips up, you should really not have a lot of this extraneous movement. And so you should be going back and forth. And with the poles balanced on the top of the hands, it's going to require you to quiet those extra motions. To challenge yourself, you can actually bring your poles in a little bit closer, your hands in, and that's going to make it harder to balance. And then you can even go one step further and go with 2 fingers. This is going to make it really difficult to balance the poles. But what this is going to do, it's going to let you separate the bottom half of the body from the top half of the body, which is really great when you're going into technique work. All right, so here Ian goes, balancing poles on the back of his hands. You can see that upper body from the hips up is really nice and stable there. So that's what we're looking for with this drill, to hopefully be able to cut off the upper body movements from the lower body movements. And this is really great for beginners, but also for people that are more experienced. And you'll see as he's going along here, now that upper body, you see those poles are moving side to side more. That's what we're trying to avoid. So we want to make sure that those poles are going to be as level as possible. Yeah, so one extra tip when we are doing this drill, if you're doing this in a group setting, really make sure there's enough spacing in between skiers, so that way if the poles do drop, we're not going to be breaking any equipment. So yeah, this is a really good introductory drill for technique work. All right, so these next 2 drills that I like to do are going to be focusing on what I think is the most important part of cross-country ski technique, and that's going to be the initiation. So this is going to be something that's important for not just skate skiing, but also for classic skiing, diagonal striding, V2, open field, pretty much everything. And that's going to be the initiation, that very first initial impulse. So there's a couple drills that I like to work on to help out with this. The first of which goes by a few different names, locked and loaded drill, or some people like to call it the T-Rex drill. But basically what this means is that you're going to lock out pretty much every joint in your body. So the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, the elbows, all this is going to be locked out. The only spot that you can pivot from is going to be from your belly button up. This upper part of your core is where you're going to be pushing from. But what it's going to look like is you're basically just going to be tapping the poles down as quickly as you can, really focusing on that initiation, that core initiation. There's 2 benefits for this drill. One is a technical piece, trying to figure out how to get utilize your core. But the second part of this drill can actually be used as a strength gain method. So when we're going doing specific strength workouts, this is a great one to add in on some climbs, and we'll demonstrate that for you. So here Ian goes with the locked and loaded drill. Notice that he's just doing really short, quick taps at those poles. And that side angle, it's trying to make sure that the elbows, the shoulders, those joints are completely locked out. Really just that core initiation is the only thing that he's using. So from that belly button on up, like I mentioned before. Yeah, so this looks really good. The other piece with this that you can work on is going to be that start position, because this is all about that start position. So focusing on having those hands up high, figuring out where those poles are being planted. So Ian looks really good here with his start position. Hands are up towards his nose, eyes. And then if we look at where the poles are planting, they're going to be at or in front of the bindings there. It looks really good. All right, and then here I wanted to show you guys what it looks like to have this be a specific strength drill. So finding either a gradual hill or even a steeper hill, and doing this drill going uphill, it's really going to put some emphasis on that core muscle. and really helps strengthen probably the most important parts of your body. So doing this does make it a little bit more difficult on the technical piece, but the stronger you are, the better you're going to get with it. All right, so the second of the initiation drills that I like to work with is going to be a drill that actually uses your poles, but doesn't use a strap. So if you have removable straps, you can take advantage of that, or just taking the straps off. But basically what we're going to be doing is now just a normal skiing, whether it's double poling, skating, you can do striding. But what this does is it really forces you to utilize the power that you get in that initiation, because once you get past this point here, this is where you're using all those strong core muscles. That's when you start to utilize the weaker muscles in the triceps, the deltoids, and those weaker muscles. But you also start to rely on the straps after this point here. So if we take that reliance off of those straps, then what you're going to be forced with is to focus on that core initiation piece here. So this is a really good drill to help emphasize more of that initiation. Here's Ian utilizing this drill, the no straps drill. So really the goal is to try to keep your technique as normal as possible while still not using those straps. Putting more emphasis on that core. And what this allows you to do is try to figure out ways to relax more once you are done using that core initiation. So here's Ian doing the same thing, but skating this time. And yes, this all looks really good. This is one of my favorite drills to work on. The other piece that you can utilize this drill for is for those athletes that might be extending too far. Those hands are coming way out the back. This forces them to not have those poles coming back as far, shortening up that stride and really utilizing the power stroke of the technique, which is that very first motion, that initiation that we were talking about. So we're now going to move on to the fourth drill. This is one of my favorite balance drills, so going into a slightly different topic here. But this one I like to call the V4 drill. And this is something that can really push the limits and push your boundaries of comfortability on roller skis and also on snow as well. So the V4 drill is really, you think about the V2, but you just double the amount of pulls that you're taking. So for every time that you're on one ski, you're going to pull twice, then swap over, pull twice again. Initially what it's going to look like and feel like is you're probably a little unbalanced and you're just basically be tapping those poles. But as you get more comfortable with it and better with your balance, that's when you're going to be able to actually utilize full pulling and full motion on both poles. So that's what the ultimate goal is to work up to. All right, so this is that V4 drill that we were just talking about. So here Ian goes, and you can see how right away he's just basically tapping with that first pulling motion. Not as comfortable as it seems like on the faster paced downhill section of this trail. But as he turns around, hopefully he becomes a little bit more comfortable on the uphill section. And you can see that full range of motion on that first pull as he goes across. And there's still going to be the occasional time where you might stumble, but really this is a good way to push your balance abilities on roller skis. All right, so the last drill that we're going to do is an over-exaggeration drill, specifically focusing on open field or V2 alternate. So with this, a common issue that I see with this technique is that people's range of movement is not as big as it probably should be. So when you're getting a bigger range of movement, you're going to be increasing both your power output and also your glide time on the ski. So with this, with V2 alternate, you're going to be coming up high and then down low on the other side. And so with this over-exaggeration drill, what you want to be doing is coming up as high as you possibly can, hands well above the head, and then coming down as low as you possibly can on the other side. Increasing that range of movement and the time that you're gliding on those skis, with the ideal outcome being that your normal technique is you're going to coming up just a little bit higher and then finishing just a little bit lower in a more powerful, more relaxed technique. Okay, so here's Ian just doing a normal open field right now, V2 alternate, just so you can see a comparison between what his technique looks like before and also when he's doing the drill. So just going to quickly turn around here. So with this, the goal is to have his hands up as high as possible on the one side and then finishing as low as possible on the other. And really the big thing you're going to notice is the increase in that glide length. And now he's going to do it one more time coming back up the hill. There you go. There we go, it's finishing nice and low. And again, this is an over-exaggeration drill. At no point should this really be your race technique or your normal ski technique, but it's something you should work towards increasing that range of movement. So now that we're done with the technique-oriented part of the video, I did want to mention briefly about roller skis, and specifically talking about the difference in ski speed or wheel speed and how that impacts your technique. So with higher speed wheels, it's probably actually be slightly easier to do some of the balance stuff. You need to be going a certain speed in order to be able to balance a little bit easier. Think about riding a bike. If you're going really slowly, it's actually hard to balance like doing a track stand, versus if you're moving faster, it's actually easier to balance. Same thing on roller skis. But when we're talking about other pieces, including like the strength oriented aspects of these technique, having the slower ski speeds are going to help bring out some of those more strength pieces, like the locked and loaded drill.
Yeah, and if you're looking to get into roller skiing, we have a nice entry-level option, the Huel roller ski. It starts out with $225, including a binding. And then if you're looking for a more performance-orientated option, we have IDT roller skis starting out at $370 with a binding.
Yeah, so come into the shop, ask any questions you want, or shoot something in the comment section, and we'll be happy to help out. Thanks.